Alright, welcome back to the studio. So what I wanted to cover today was not exactly a special request, but it was something that I know a lot of people struggle with, and it's studio practice that I engage in all the time, and that's throwing custom chucks. So I quite often make pieces that are very funky, very wonky, and sometimes I love to have very traditional feet thrown onto them. This was thrown with a 2x4 and a trim tool with just slurry, but it would be nice to have that real pristine foot brought onto it. One of the issues is that there's no way to flip this piece over and not damage that beautiful surface we have. So what I'm going to do is essentially throw this cone that can go and hug the piece that then allows me to go back and really clean it up and trim that bottom the way I want. So I will start off just by throwing a cylinder. I tend to use a lot of clay when I do this, mainly because I just re-wedge it afterwards, so I never feel like I'm wasting it, but the more clay that I have, the more aggressive I can be with it. Okay, I'll just center this clay out. I won't go crazy because it's not like I'm actually making a finished product. Clay is a little bit hard, but sometimes that's actually a nice thing as well, so you have that much more resistance as you go to adjust your piece. So I want to make a really wide base that can taper up and catch this pop by the sides. This is a little studio assistant. Force the habit that I have to clean that bottom up. For me, that's wide enough. Again, I'm going to grab the clay from the back end, push it up and into the middle. I'm going to keep a very thick lip. And I'm just going to kind of eye this up with my hand to see how close it is to actually fitting the piece that I want to trim. Bring that back on camera, so that's about perfect. Right there. You can use calipers. Oftentimes I just like to use my fingers. So I know that the texture within here is about 5 fingers for me. In my hole that I have is relatively 5 fingers. I think I'll open it up just a tad more, so I know I have the clearance. From here, sometimes I'll just grab a little piece of plastic. It's a huge piece of plastic, but we will tear that up. And I just like doing the plastic, that way this piece doesn't stick and I don't have real transference. Here. Then I'll kind of nestle this piece in a little bit, being pretty gentle, and I'll just see how close I am to being on center. I'll just fudge this to where it has to go. Again, this piece is very wonky, so finding a true center may be next to impossible, but this is pretty close. And one more little adjustment. Alright, and sometimes with the really wonky pieces, I like to just push this clay up and around the form. Okay. Ready to start trimming. I use pretty basic tools. Love using Dolan tools. There's so many to pick from, but I just find for me I get comfortable with one tool and I don't like switching it up. Just because I really know how to work it. That being said, I was just gifted this brand new Michael Sherrill tool, one of those mud tools that I am excited to delve into. But we'll save that for another video. Yeah, push myself off a little bit. so I'm going to start off just by redefining where this bottom is. Hold my tool nice and steady. I'm going to go in and make a really tight little foot. I'm just going to try to carry that straight line all the way down to the bottom. For doing the actual interior of the foot, I usually still use a pretty bulky tool. I like to start and define where my ring is, and then I like to plunge back into the middle. I try to maintain some type of an arch until the very end. That way I know the piece isn't going to collapse. And then towards the end, I just rotate that tool down, and we'll just cut away anything we don't want. Sometimes I do love leaving some grittiness when it comes to the actual clay texture. This piece I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead, just grab an even nicer sponge, a little bit of water, and just get that slurry on there to soften it up. This is a nice porcelaneous clay, little Laguna trademark there. It's not actually Laguna clay, but these types of clays that aren't filled with grog can really take to a sponge well. Otherwise, I tend to leave the grittiness. From there, essentially, just try to slowly remove it. And we have our nice little foot. No damage done to the lip. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.